Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Mission Impact Series with Tracy and Ty. My name is Tracy V. Allen. I'm the owner of TVA Consulting Group, where I help social impact businesses to design, build, and fund their social ventures so that they can live the lifestyles that they desire, because we all want to live good, and while impacting their communities.
All right, and I'm Ty Boone. I'm owner of Ty Boone Enterprises. I work mostly with nonprofit organizations, helping them to move from startup and struggle to sustainability and success. It's not as nearly as sexy as what Tracy does, right? She helps you to live your best life,
Your
right?
best life, your best life, because it is short out here, right? We don't know when our number is going to come up. So we want to live our best lives.
Mhm.
Yeah. So today, guys, we're talking about planning for your year ahead. So we talked about Giving Tuesday, how to, make the best out of that and how to utilize it if you haven't been, engaging your audience before. We talked about year-end fundraising strategies and, what people are looking for from you at that time and what you should be doing and not doing at that time of the year. And then we talked about wrapping up your year, looking at your quarters with unbiased eyes to see what went well and what did not, making sure you bring in professionals to help you because sometimes we cannot see what is right in front of us, right? Because think about relationships. Everybody's telling you that man ain't good for you, but you still there
But I
because you
love
see
him.
something that everybody didn't see, right? And then when
But
it
I
turns
love
out
him,
bad,
and he got good hair.
yeah. So, and then now we're going to take all of that and put it together in planning for your next year because you should not be waiting until the new fiscal year to plan for it. You should be planning at least, as a matter of fact, your planning should be finished.
Mm-hmm.
This is November. You should have started planning in Q3
Mm-hmm.
for the next year. So we're
Mm-hmm.
going to talk about some strategies for planning for the year ahead. All right.
Mm-hmm. And you want to look. I mean, going into the next year, you want to look at every aspect of your business or your organization, from the tops to the bottom. So you're talking about, leadership is one, right? That might be you. Um, what did you do or what could you do better and work on those things? So everybody needs to assess leadership. Even if you have your own for-profit business by yourself, have I been doing what I'm supposed to be doing in my business? Have I been look? Am I still writing this book? I looked at my email yesterday. The same conversation about my book was January 2022. We're
Mhm.
January 2023 already. I'm probably on the same chapter that I
Oh
was.
no.
Maybe I got two more chapters, but that's
Mhm.
me. That's leadership,
Right.
right? That's not doing what they're supposed to do. But you have your programs and services. If you're business, are these working?
Mhm.
What are the ones do I need to keep?
Mhm.
What are the ones I need to to change? What are the ones do I need to eliminate altogether? Right? Is there anywhere that I need to devote more of my time, more of my energy, more of my effort as it relates to that? What does my team and my staff look like? These things that you just kind of go one by one, right? What does my team and my staff look like? Is everybody doing their job? Are they not doing it because they don't know what to do? That goes back to me. That goes back to the leadership part, right?
Right.
Um, are they not doing it because I've not provided them with the resources necessary to get it done? Do they need to have training? Do they need to have education? You mentioned training and development, a couple of sessions ago. But is that something that we need to look into for the new year? What should that look like? What kind of systems do I have in place now? Are they working? What kind of processes and procedures are we following? Are there any type of, even down to automations? Are we doing anything that's gonna make our time and our work better? Is there
Mhm.
anything I need to eliminate financially? And that's the other thing. We're talking about funding, but can I save somewhere? Can I cut somewhere something? Am I paying a whole lot of money for systems that I ain't using? Or things that I'm not. How are we going to get into this next year with enough to get us through at least the first quarter of the year, right? So we can
Mhm.
know that first quarter is taken care of before we leave quarter four of 2022.
Right. Yeah. Um, Definitely just taking a look at all of the systems and processes that you have within your business. Looking at your software, you know, every time I look at my bill, at the end of the month, or I'm not
You
even
be
gonna
like,
say it,
dang, don't you? Because
every
I be like, dang. Because I
quarter,
be like,
because
cause
I
I
be
be like,
trying at
dang.
the end of the month, but it ends up being every quarter. I see some stuff on there that I didn't know I was paying for.
Yeah.
Okay. So looking at all of that, like what have we utilized as far as software for the year? Were we paying for things that we were using once in a while or not at all? Right. So do we need them? Are they an integral part of our system? Right.
Mhm.
What does our accounting system look like? Are we trying to do it ourselves or are we outsourcing it to someone else? And is that person effective? Right. So are they giving us quarterly sit downs where they're talking about, here's where you're making the bulk of your money. This is where you need to increase. Here's how you can, well, for profits, here's how you can get a tax break by doing XYZ, looking at all of those systems when it comes to your accounting, looking at your financial systems, your revenue generating systems, where, like I said, but for yourself now, not with your accountant, where's the money coming in from? So
Where's
we
it
will promote.
going?
Yeah, where is it going? We were promoting this all the time. Nobody bought. So are we going to continue to promote it? Are we putting money and time and energy behind it? Or are we going to take it off the table? Why? You still, even if you're going to take it off, you still need to figure out why people didn't connect to that particular product. Okay, what it is about that product or service or whatever it is that people just weren't jiving with. It could be the way you were marketing it. And like Ty and I was talking about one of my products before we got on here. And I was like, I just think it's too heavy. She was like, yeah, I think it's too heavy. Let me think about breaking it up in certain ways so it's more digestible to the audience. Right. So looking at things like that.
And that you said that it's more adjustable to the audience. Not that it's a bad product, right? But being able to go back and evaluate and say, okay, this is my market. Like this is what sometimes when we're coming from the business owner spot, we're always talking about what you need. Like this is what because we just feel like we know everything. Everything.
That is so true. We live in our heads. That's what I call it, living inside your head, right? And you are your own ideal client, so you're thinking about how you would want it, but you're not everybody else that you're serving. So yeah,
right. And you got to think about how people adapt to what you have out there. So being able to cut it up into pieces makes it a much more attractive offer. For your product that you're talking about. And so going into the next year, taking that into consideration, where it's still a good product, but maybe the delivery of it should be
different.
And taking some time to even think about that. I think that's what we're not doing. We just run with it, and then we go, oh, this is not working, and then here we go 2 years later, and we're not eating. Because it's like, okay, well, that didn't sell, but that's an awesome product, right? And then we've seen somebody else who actually tore it up and took your stuff and tore it up and selling it, right? And they're doing really good. And I should have just broke it up into pieces and really consider my market.
Yep. Right. Yeah. So taking a look at all of those things and even evaluating your clientele to see, what they liked, what they didn't like. But you have to take all that information. You just don't do it, right? So all of the stuff I'm telling you,
do it, right?
Yeah, you just don't do it. You actually have to sit with it now and do an analysis of it. And then you utilize the information that you gathered from collecting all that data, and then you utilize it to create a plan for next year.
And knowing when to shift, you and I, we have like these shifting moments, quite frequently, even not really changing up the brand, even some minor shifts in our audiences and who we're wanting to appeal to and who we're trying to attract, but knowing when it's time to do that based on where you're growing, because you're not always going to be the same in business. You're gonna grow. You may have this may be the audience that I served in 2016, where it evolved into a whole different set of people who think differently, who move differently, who walk differently in 2023. So if I'm evolving to that audience and I'm still trying to stick it over here to that audience, there may be a disconnect, in what I'm trying to provide for them, because mentally I'm thinking about those people over there. So knowing how to compartmentalize that and saying, hey, well, this is what I can offer to them if I still want to just kind of say hey to them. This is what I can give to them, but this is what I need to focus on for, my financial security for this other audience, because mentally this is where I'm going. So this is where I'm going to grow, and this is where my mojo is going to happen.
Right. And that brings it back to when you do all this planning, this data collection, you do all the analyzing of the data, and we're telling you to utilize it. It's not a conversation. It is a conversation with some written tactics attached to it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And who's going to carry out those specific actions? How long is it going to take them to carry out those actions, and what the deliverables should be? A lot of times when we say all of this, I find that people go back and they collect, some of them may actually collect some of the data, and then they sit down and have a conversation about it. And then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Or they say, hey, this is what we're going to do next year.
Right?
That didn't work. Let's do this. But
mm-hmm.
nothing else goes behind it. I say a lot of stuff. Every year I have a slew of things that I want to do. If it was not on my strategic plan, chances are it ain't getting done.
It ain't gonna get done, right?
Something exceptional has to happen during that year that frees up, like, one of my goals just take off and it's not consuming a lot of my time anymore, and it frees up a bulk of time, and then I'm like, oh, I could revisit, oh, I didn't put that on my strategic plan, but now I have time to do it, so here we go, let's get this done. But that's the only way things that don't make it to the actual strategy plan, the strategic plan that has all of the components, that is the only way it will ever get done.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we got to start implementing. So we can plan all day, but you got to put some fire behind it if it's gonna work.
Yeah, and the excuse of I don't have time doesn't work either, right? You have to make time. We make time to sleep, bathe, talk on the phone, all of the things. You need to have a time schedule for doing things. Like I told people, when I wanted to do a lot of networking and building in my community, I had to figure out how I was going to do time, because I couldn't be out of the house from like 8, 9 in the morning till sometime 4 in the afternoon, right? And still run my business. So a lot of my business did not constitute actually talking to my clients like this, like virtually. I could talk to them on the phone. A lot of it could have been done via email. So I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and do my work from like 4 to 8 o'clock. And then when I came in the evening, I would do another hour, 2 hours of work. And that got me through. So I was able to do all the different things that I needed to do. And when I did need to take calls, my car became my office. Right. So I would literally schedule some of my calls during my commute.
Yep.
That
is in time management. I'm sitting at basketball practice, right? I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do that one then, right? Because and you just have to figure it out, I remember going to a conference, I guess it was before COVID, so 2018, 2019, where the speaker was talking about rhythm, because people always try to get you to get into this balance of life.
Right.
And I'm like, I can't find no balance, because it's wild over here in Boone Country, right? It's really wild. And she started talking about, well, there doesn't have to be a balance. There has to be a rhythm where everything kind of sounds crazy, but when you put it together, it flows and it makes perfect music. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I just have to figure out where that rhythm is, so I could, and that's what you were talking about, what you're doing. So, okay, I get up at 4 and I do this thing, because I know that the rest of my day going to be crazy and I ain't going to be able to do this, whatever. So I'm going to do it then, or I'm going to be in traffic. It's an hour drive into the city anyway. So I may as well, do my
exactly. I might as well utilize the time. And that's what I did. I planned all of my calls around being in my car. So, people started to say, oh, you're in your office. Like they knew after a while, they started knowing that, hey, I'm on the road. That's the only time you can talk to me is if I'm in my car. Otherwise, I can't have a conversation with you.
My 8-year-old, he's so funny. The other day, he asked me to pick him up from school early, right? And I said, no, I can't pick you up from school early. I have to work. He says, you have a laptop, you can do it, because he's seen it before, right?
Right.
You have a laptop, you can just come to the school and wait in your car. That's kind of He's seen it happen just like that
Mhm.
before. So it's
Mhm.
not foreign to him. That's how you've made it work before.
Yeah.
You still won't come pick me up early because you don't want to. That
Mhm.
was an excuse.
Exactly. Exactly. And sometimes even if I forget that, I was supposed to have a Zoom call with somebody, I will get on the Zoom and I just don't turn on my camera.
Yeah.
But we still gonna have the Zoom call because I gotta go do what I need to do. I can't be
Mhm.
held hostage in my house because I have a Zoom call.
Right, because I got a Zoom call.
You
I can't
know?
go nowhere because we on Zoom.
So
Girl,
yeah,
we at Walmart.
exactly. But yeah, seriously, when planning ahead, really take the time, sit with your staff, sit with your board. If you have an advisory board, sit with them. Your volunteers, don't forget them. Sit with your clients and get a full data picture of what is going on in your organization and what people want to see happen in your organization. Where they
Mhm.
feel things can be better, then sit down and utilize that information to create a plan for the
Mhm.
following year.
Yep. And start offboarding your clients in your team. If they're leaving, you're finishing up, give them a little survey. What did you like about us? What would you change? How was your experience? Just like the AT&T man, do those kind of things so that you don't have to go back and scramble to find folk who you worked with this year. There's some data right
Mhm,
there that you can use to help you to get into your next year.
mhm. Yeah. So that's it, everybody. That's how you plan for your year ahead. And we won't see you guys back again until January of 2023. So we are wishing you happy Thanksgiving. If you see this after Thanksgiving, still happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa. What else? Season's greetings.
Kwanzaa, Kwanzaa. But whatever y'all got go,
Yeah, whatever it is
all
that
of
you
that.
have going on,
Happy,
and definitely a happy, happy, happy new year. All right. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and we will see you in 2023. Bye,
bye,
everybody.
y'all.
Yeah. Okay, great.